deluxe apartment in the sky. Oh, amazing. So, welcome back in to the Lit Library. I'm one of your hosts, Chandra, and I am here with my co-host as we have another episode of Road to Black Romance Book Fest. Now, before we get to our special guest today, let me introduce my girls. Hey, Candace.
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Hey, Miss D.H. Renfro.
Hello. Happy Friday.
Hey, Bree.
Hey.
I'm hollering. Why does it say Fran's name all over everybody's thing?
I was trying to figure that out, but I was like, I don't see that. Everybody has their own name.
No, it says Francesca like twice. Hey, Diamond.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, girl. Hey. And last but not least, our local celebrity, Miss Jaleesa Jackson. Hey, girl. How you doing?
Not my full name.
Oh my God. Miss Jaleesa reads her. I'm so sorry.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Miss Bree, take it away. How you doing?
Good. So we are doing our legendary February on our road to BRBF. And today we have a very, very special guest with us. She is an author with more than 30 years in the game, over 100 published titles, an award-winning author, a groundbreaking author, an inspiration to many, a pioneer in Black romance. We are so honored to be talking to the Donna Hill. Hi, Miss Donna.
Hi, Miss Donna.
I wonder who y'all was talking about just now. Just like, what?
What you mean? We are talking about you. What do you mean?
Just very confusing that y'all be like, who, me? Yes, you.
Yes, right. Literally, yes,
absolutely.
you.
Quite literally you.
Oh my God. I'm like, I'll speak for myself. I know everybody gonna say their things, but between you, Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, and Rochelle Ehlers, I grew up reading y'all when I had no business reading y'all. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I was buying books when I had. My mom ain't know what was going on. She just liked that I was reading. She didn't know what was going on. I was going to the library picking up books. Y'all raised me. That's what I like to tell everybody. Y'all raised me when it comes to the literary world, and I thank you. I want to give you your flowers while you can receive them.
Well, thank you.
Of course. Now listen, it's been. This book, the first book, so we like to start off with our legends. We like to start off with the first book in your category or in your catalog. Rooms of the Heart, we don't talk about it. But with you being in the game 35 years this year.
Yeah.
What would you say are your writing techniques? Are you the kind of writer that, you like to write with music? Or are you like silence is golden? We're going to start off real easy.
My writing routine has sort of morphed and changed over the years. When I first started out, I could stay up until the sun come up and I'd be at my computer just to typing. I was always able to write during chaos. Like it was chaotic in my house. My kids were little. I had this naughty dog. So all of that was going on. And so I was always able to write in any kind of circumstance. And I can still write like that. I still write that way. I don't have some of my writing friends, they only write in the morning, or they have a special room that they go to. They have their office and they set it up, and I see their lovely offices, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm working and I'm writing and I'm making lists for stuff. So I don't have, I wish I could say that I have a path that I follow in terms of how I write and how I produce stuff. Sometimes I write in spurts. Sometimes I don't write for several days at a time. When I'm thinking of a story, I may not be writing that story, but I'm working on something else because I'm always writing in some kind of way because of the job that I have.
Mhm.
So when I teach writing, because I teach fiction and I teach, English composition courses and, workshops and things like that, I always tell the students, don't do what I do because I am a very chaotic kind of writer. Um, and I tell them, I say, you need to write every day. And, even if it's just a little bit and all of that, I tell them all of the good things. Like, when you learn how to drive and the instructor tells you the right way to drive and then you learn and you write on your own. So
Mhm.
that's the way I approach it. So it's very kind of haphazard. I wrote a little bit today and then I was doing some other stuff and then I got to watch my stories because I'm a total Beyond the Gates fan. I don't know why I
Oh
watch
my
that.
gosh,
Yes. I need to
yes.
watch today's episode.
Yes, I need to watch today's episode.
Yes. I never thought I was gonna be nobody that watched the soaps because I used to make fun of my mama as a little kid, but now
I'm
Beyond the
I know.
Gates
tuned
I'm
is so
so
in.
good.
it's so ridiculous. The show is like totally ridiculous. I'm just
That's
like,
what
for
it's supposed to
real?
be.
But I can't stop watching. So
Mm-mm.
I just turned off watching a couple of episodes just before I got on here. So yeah. I'm a chaotic writer. I just admit that.
And that's okay because everybody has their techniques. I too am a chaotic writer. I don't think I can like sit in one spot. It just comes to me. When they start talking, I write. And wherever that is, that's where it is. But
Yeah.
since we were talking about your debut,
Mm.
Rooms of the Heart, I had to ask if that story had a theme song, what would it be?
Ooh, wow. Jeez, you know how long ago that book was? I'm trying to remember what it was about. Um, and
Let me
who the
tell you,
people
you
was.
had
What
us
was
by
it?
the seat of our pants for the
That was
story
that was
too.
That's Tempest and Braxton and them.
Tempest,
Hmm.
yes, right, right, right. Tempest and Braxton. Um, Let me see. Uh, for those two, I would say, um, Ashford and Simpson's Is It Still Good to You?
Ooh,
Mm.
is it
Ooh.
still good to you, baby?
Of,
Yes.
of, of
Yeah.
course, friend.
Of course, Fran
You
know.
know I'm
Of
gonna
But
know.
Fran
course.
said,
You know,
Fran said, I know exactly, and I know that song. But
it
Fran
gives
And
said, I'm
you
real
gonna
know
give you a little.
it gives real born in 1970 over there.
it's okay. I will take it. I will take it. And that
Yes.
fits. I love that. I'm gonna have to run that song actually after we done with
Yes.
this
Yeah, once
Yes.
we hop
rewind.
off, I'm gonna have to slide to Ashford and Simpson House just for a little second.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites of theirs.
Okay. So, we all have tropes that we love. So, what's one romance trope you will always love and one that you might have to side eye sometimes?
Um, wow, I wish I could say that I follow or entertain tropes. I don't know if I do it consciously or not. I'll start with the second part of your question, which is one I would never use. Miscommunication. Because
Mm.
i- if you have the conversation then the story is over. So for them to, constantly, not understanding what they meant and blah back and forth and that kind of stuff, that I don't like. I don't like the surprise baby stories. Um so those types of things I don't like. I think for me, the kinds of stories that I write in terms of tropes, maybe it's my own, is usually issue driven for the most part, especially as my career has progressed over the years. And so it's about things that I find important in the world and
Mm.
how can I put that in a story and what kind of people would be in that story. So that's kind of my thing. So whether it's racial discrimination or if it's hierarchy at work, those types of things, family situations. So those are my go-tos basically. And then also I'm looking at, just thinking about some of the themes more so than tropes that I find myself gravitating towards. It's women who truly evolve in the story,
Mhm.
and it's not because of a man, but because of them finding themselves. And so I find that to be one of my go-to things as well. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And it's kind of a perfect segue into this next question because you don't just write romance, you've written women's fiction, there's some historical, I believe there's some thriller-ish suspensive things in your catalog as well.
Yeah.
But speaking about romance specifically, from you debuting in 1990 to us being here in 2026, how has the romance genre changed in your eyes?
Oh, I think it's well, our visibility for one thing.
Mhm.
Um, the genre itself, I think it really evolved because Black writers. Ooh, I'm echoing. Black writers bring a level of culture and heritage to the page. Like we can talk about church, we can talk about food, we can talk about restaurants, and we'll know what we mean. And so I find that to be one of the things that we're able to add to the genre. And then also, too, we moved away from a lot of the tropes, the cookie cutter tropes that we
Mhm.
saw in other romances. So we bring a whole level of experiences to the page. And for lack of a better word, we bring color and vibrancy to the page. And there's circumstances that we find ourselves in that our counterparts would never. And I think that that has changed. We have gone from, traditional romance to thriller romances to historical romances. So we've been able to, just like in every other place that Black folks enter, we expand. Right? So, then we go into sports or entertainment. We may just enter it, but then we elevate it. And I feel the same thing has happened with romance novels as well. We've elevated it. We've taken it to a completely different level and opened the doors for writers who otherwise may have not ever had the opportunity to be published because
Mhm.
quiet as it's kept, the Black romance was the introduction for all of the subgenres of Black writing that came after it. Once they realized that Black romance was successful, then you started having imprints at, different houses. You started seeing different types of Black books. More Black writers started getting published, all of those things. And so the romance writers paved the way for that. They set the foundation that so many of the writers that are here now that are doing so extremely well are doing that because of the work that was done in the early 90s.
I had no I like I've never heard anybody put it that way, that Black romance opened the door for the other genres and subgenres. But when you put it like that, you're right. And people love to shit on
Absolutely.
romance, but romance, not only is romance always number one, it's always going to bring the coin in. It absolutely opens the door for others. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We did a lot of work. I mean, when I first started out in 1990, you could not go into a bookstore and find shelves of Black contemporary books. They just were not there.
Mhm.
You could not go into a store and find Black romances on the shelves. When, we talked about Rooms of the Heart when it first came out, and there were, Rochelle came out before I did, Sandra Kipp came out before I did, Elsie Washington came out before I did, like, the mid 80s that, they were able to get a book out. So when my book came out in 1990, um, and it was a small Black publishing company, Odyssey Books, and the book was published. I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, my book is going to be in all the stores. This is great. And the publisher said, we have 10,000 copies of your book and it's stuck in the warehouse because there's no distribution. So stores didn't know or would not accept what this was because they still had this notion of Black folks don't read. And why should we change up what we have on the shelves in terms of romance with your stuff? They're not going to read it. And so it wasn't until we found a Black distributor that was distributing other Black books that was able to actually get the books into the store. So when I first started, I was almost like a self-published author for all intents and purposes because I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I made a list of all of the Black bookstores in New York. Went to all of the bookstores with my little rooms of the heart, and I told them, this is my first book, and would you consider taking it on consignment? Whatever you sell, you sell. Whatever you don't sell, you give back. And their thing was, well, what is this? Like, where do we put it on the shelves? Because there were no shelves.
Yeah.
And so, that happened. And then who else came after? Frances Ray published with Odyssey Books as well. Her book came out, Forever Yours. Sandra Kitt did a book with them. I think who else? Did Rochelle do something? I don't know. And a few other writers that are around now. Ebony Snow, like early writers, started out with Odyssey Books. And so Odyssey Books was like the first Black publisher that published romance books by Black writers. And so once they saw that, wow, these books are in the store, people are reading them. Maybe we should do something about that. And so here comes Kensington Books, Kensington Publishing, and they launched the Arabesque line. And that's where all of the Black writers were able to finally start writing. So there's that history that's there that a lot of people, now, because it's like, oh, I just go to, HarperCollins will publish me and Avon will publish me. And it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that before. And so now we have, a lot more open doors than we did then, but it was a lot of work that we had when in those early days. And I think if you ever talk to Shirley Hailstock, she'll tell you the same thing. We would go into the stores and we'd have to turn the books around because they'd have them spine side out. You couldn't find them. Or I was in the city and I was in a Borders, and I went into the Borders and I asked for my book. I just went in to ask for, I think it was maybe second book I had published, second or third book. And where they looked it up in the computer, they knew that there was some in the store, and they took me to the back of the store. You know how you have the ladders so that you can get high up on the shelves? So there was a ladder in front of it. All these books were there, and it was all of the Black anything. Anything Black was in this area. And that's where the book was. And I was like, wait a second. Romance readers are going to go to the romance section of the bookstore to find their books. Why would they look for this book over here next to, the emancipation of, Billy Bob or whatever for Black folks? You don't do that for white writers. If they write a book about, Irish love, you don't put them in the Irish section of the store, you put them in the romance section. So there was that battle that we had to actually get shelved with other romance books. So that was like one of the first hurdles that we had to deal with. So when you go into the stores now and you see us on the shelves, next to all of the other, Harlequins and the Avons and everything else, it wasn't like that before. It wasn't. So we've come a long way.
A long way. And we still got stuff to work on, but Wow. I didn't know they just had y'all at the back of the store like that.
Oh, yeah, it was in the back of the store. I was like, "Wait,
Hmm.
behind the ladder."
It's interesting because this has been a conversation on Threads about readers and authors really understanding the history of Black romance. And I don't think you should ever be surprised that Black people have to fight for things.
No.
But it's just amazing to know, like, even our books for us that we wanted to read, they were like, we don't care. We don't want this where it can be seen with other people's books. And so, like, just equality is just always so very, very deeply in our history. Fighting for every piece of equality
Oh,
is always very interesting to see, because those are the small things that we don't hear about in our history classes, right? As black people, like the fight to even just have your books properly displayed. We don't know those things. And so when we get a chance to sit down and speak with authors like yourself and Miss Beverly and Brenda Jackson, it's you giving us our history so that we can keep reminding other readers and authors as they come to space about our history as well. So, with that said, if you could go back to any of your previous works with the knowledge you have now of the Black romance and the book industry, would you do anything differently?
mm. I probably would have kept better records. When I started writing, um, I didn't realize at the time what was gonna happen. I knew that I wrote this book and it was wonderful and, hopefully I get to write another one. So I didn't see it as a career at the time. I saw it as something that I just enjoyed doing. So I didn't treat it the way that I should have in terms of a businesswoman. I didn't look at it that way. So there were a lot of things that had I paid more attention and say, okay, with this, this is a career. These are the things that you need to do. These are, the elements that you need to put in place in order to protect your career, right? I would have done those things differently. Looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, if I had only known, and so much has changed. I mean, when I
Mhm.
first started, um, we got actual fan letters in the mail. So the letters would come to the publisher and they would send the letters to us and we would literally, like write letters to people. So, all of that has changed. The technology has changed. There was no social media
Mhm.
as a way to, get your information out. You had, the AOL groups that they had early on, a couple of Yahoo things in the early beginnings, but the technology and the ability that authors now have at their fingertips to, promote and to spread the word about their work is leaps and bounds from, where we were back then. I still remember getting, big, thick manila envelopes full of letters that you had to like answer people because they were writing to the public because that was the only way that they can get in contact with us. We would have to put like, if you want to reach the author, and there was no websites, you didn't have a website. Everything was done through the publisher. So much has changed. And just trying to, keep up with the everything that comes our way. Touring was different then. We can do tours virtually now. You don't
Mhm.
even have to leave your house. So there's all of these different things that have happened that have made life richer and easier for writers, who are here now, doing what they love. So I see that as, part of, some of the big changes that I have seen over the years. Um, I'm glad I don't have to write letters anymore. That I'm very thankful for. Um, going to the post office and looking for envelopes and stamps and all sorts of stuff. Writers today, it wouldn't even occur to them to do something like that.
I was
But
gonna say, I really want to go like write all of y'all a letter and just send it to your publisher and see if they still gonna send it your way.
I wonder if they would. They probably like, what is this? Like, send me a text. Oh, Donna, you have
They probably
something came here for you.
they probably be like, send it in an email,
Email.
please.
You don't have an
Right?
email?
Email. And back then, what was so crazy is that, we send manuscripts now electronically. You finish your manuscript, you set it up, whatever, you send it to your editor. They send it back with their notes. It's in an email, this document. We had to print out every single solitary page. Your manuscript was 400 pages. You had to print out 300 or 400 pages. After you finished it, you had to put it in an envelope. You had to have a self-addressed stamped envelope, and you had to mail it to your publisher. That's how they got your manuscript, real live pages. And we don't have to do that anymore. So the trick that Victoria, Christopher Murray, and I, if you ever talk to her, she'll tell you, because we had this thing, because we were always late with our manuscripts. So we would say, the editor would, call and or send you a little email, we still have it. And I'd be like, you haven't gotten it yet. Well, I sent it in the mail, and you have some fake FedEx number and all kinds of foolishness so that you could buy yourself some time in order to be able to get the manuscript in time. We had all kinds of stuff. There's this other thing that we used to do. It's just like you can like send blank pages because it looks like the words are there, but they're really not there, to take up the pages, because your manuscript's supposed to be 250 pages long, but you only wrote 100 pages so far. So you write the end and you have all of these blank pages in the middle, and by the time they get to the pages that are blank, you've already caught up, and you're like, what? That's how it came to you? Oh my goodness, I don't know what happened. And then you can send it. So, we had like all kinds of stuff like that we had to do. It's just, and things have changed. I can't pull that off no more.
That sound like some excuses I was using in college. Like, I sent you the paper via
What? You
email. I
didn't
don't
get
know.
it?
You
Technology
didn't get
messed it
it?
up. Oh
Right.
my
It must have
God.
been
You
a
didn't get it?
Please
typo.
Oh my
resend it.
gosh. Wow. Let me see. Did you check your
That's crazy.
spam?
This isn't your email.
Right?
Are you
Oh
sure?
my goodness. I
Check your
put an
spam.
R instead of a T. I'll send it to you again.
Which is very funny because also, if you had to respond to every letter now, stamps cost too much.
Yeah.
I
Oh
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them, but what a lot of the writers, the readers they would send an envelope with a stamp on it. So most of them did, a lot of them didn't. And so, you had that, and you just, you were right there. You would literally either type it up on a type, because when I wrote Rooms of the Heart on a typewriter, and,
wow.
most folks today,
Wow.
students today is like, what's a typewriter? Well, a typewriter, and I had carbon paper, and I had whiteout and the whole thing. My entire manuscript, Rooms of the Heart, was done on a electric typewriter because I didn't even have a computer when I first started writing. And so, that was crazy. Just putting that together and like whiting stuff out, and because you couldn't make a whole lot of mistakes, because this is it, or you have to do the whole page all over again. Yeah, so a lot has changed. Now all I got to do is like press a button, like delete.
Mm-hmm. A
Right,
lot
right.
easier now.
You don't know
Yes,
about
Oh
all that
man.
whiteout. I would white out the
white
whole
out.
page if I could, then have to start over.
Yes,
You know, I
white
used
out.
to have my grandfather's typewriter, and that was the most fun I used to have because
Oh,
You hear the keys clicking, and you go,
yep.
I wouldn't write nothing for real, but it was letters on that paper. I think my grandma still got a typewriter at her house.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Sometimes
go
you
see
just
next
gotta go
time.
back.
You might, yeah,
What
you
what
might
you
have
gonna
to
do
pull
over
it out.
there with it, Jaleesa?
I'm a
Come
type.
on, October.
Oh, oh,
Exactly.
I'm a
Ooh,
type of paper.
yeah. A paper.
a
Okay.
book,
There you go.
a
Well,
novella.
speaking of letters, I
Mhm.
read in an author interview that for If I Could, you got a letter from a reader saying that the book gave them the courage to leave their husband. And so I
Yeah.
was wondering, with your abundant career, all these books that you've written, are there any other books that stand out to you in that way?
Well, okay, so if I could, I remember, getting that letter. I was working at the Queen's Library at the time when I got that letter. I was at a book sign. I'm not even gonna say what I can't even remember where. I was at a bookstore and in my bedroom had come out. And in my bedroom was not a romance by any stretch of the imagination. It was women's fiction. But it was about um an incest and abuse relationship. Um, I was signing books, and this woman came up to me, and she thanked me for the book because it was like it told her story
Wow.
of what had happened to her in her life. Um, and I don't tell it to a lot of people. I guess I can kind of say it. Well, maybe I shouldn't, but someone very close to me, um, told me that that happened to them as a child. Someone very close to me. And it freed them in a way. Um, uh, in my bedroom was actually, um, a required reading, at a college. I had gotten a letter from, um, a psychologist who said that when she read the book, she was so impressed by the legitimacy of the things that I talked about and how, psychologists deal with the clients, the whole cascading effect, um, how the client will form a relationship with the psychologist, all of those different types of things. So that made me feel like really good that, I did the work and didn't just tell some story, but
Mhm.
really had the research to back up what I was saying. So that was another book that just kind of like, wow. Okay. And then of course, the romance is like, oh, that man, Rafe, and I just love him, and all that kind of stuff. So that's a different story. But in terms of, them really books that actually affected people, those two things. Yeah.
And in my bedroom, that was Rain, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, I was definitely I read that in high school. Obviously, shouldn't have been reading that in high school, but
So you should not have. Yeah, that was wrong. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to like that book either. I don't know.
Okay, so talking about books that stand out to you, do
Mhm.
you have a hero or MMC that you would want to go on a date with? Like, if you had to pick one of your many MMCs, which one would you go on a date with?
Let's see. Probably Quentin Parker or Rafe Lawson. Those are two of my favorite heroes. Um, Quentin Parker, because he was kind of fashioned after somebody very special. So I pulled a lot of his qualities and created Quentin Parker. Rafe Lawson, he came to me as a secondary character in an earlier book and just sort of like took on a life of his own. And he was just this real sexy, can't get next to him, a little bit edgy character that I just love. So those it would be those two. Yeah. One on Friday night, one on Saturday.
Okay, which one on Saturday?
I
Because
know that's right.
that's gonna be the one.
I was just about to ask that.
That's the one that could stay over till Sunday.
Exactly.
I would say probably Quentin Parker. Yeah, probably Quentin.
Mm.
Plus, he was a musician, and I love musicians. So he was a musician. He was fine in my mind. He was fine. Um, and
And I
and he
mind too.
tortured
Okay, hello.
soul. He was kind of tortured, and he needed somebody to love him up. Yeah, I think it would be Quentin Parker. He could stay over on Saturday.
I know that's right. Okay, so since you have a picture of him, if Rooms of the Heart got adapted for film, who are you casting as Tempest, Braxton, and we want to know David too. We don't like David ass, but we want to know.
It's gotta be that bald-headed man from the Medea movie that she threw in the tub. He a terrible person in every
Yes.
movie.
The
Charles.
You
bald
talking
head in Medea
about
movie.
Woody
When,
Brothers?
when she's
I
yeah,
just
when
watched
she
him on
slid his salad
NCIS
off the
last night,
table.
and he was an awful nigga in that
He's
as well.
always bad in every movie. Perfect for David.
Christina's
Oh, okay.
gone.
All right. So y'all got David. My
Christina.
brother, whose name is David, swore that was supposed to be him in the book, and I'm like, look, this person don't have nothing to do with you. I just happened to pull the name. That was it.
You don't want to be
So
David, no way, brother.
no.
Just saying, sis.
So let's see. Who could be Tempest? Somebody like Toni Braxton. She might be a good Tempest.
Okay.
Count
I
me
can
in.
see it.
Yeah.
I
I
can
can
see
see the
it.
vision. I
that.
can see
I
the
can
vision.
see it.
Yeah. And
Tony.
all my characters look like Idris Elba. So, I have to kind of like move away from that, but he's everybody.
Well,
Hey,
girl, that's a good
hey,
choice. That's a great
that's a
Okay.
choice.
great choice.
Everybody. So, he could be Braxton, he could be Rafe, he could be Quentin, he could be anybody. He's always the same person. That's who I always imagine in my head.
I love that.
A nice chocolate piece of man.
He's my inspiration. I just saw him on TV today too. I was like, oh Lord have mercy.
Still looking good. Still fine. That's all
He
I'm
is
saying.
Silver.
Gray, he got
He is
going
Silver
on.
Fox now.
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is
God.
Silver Fox.
I
And
said,
that
not you done got
walk,
some grays and you walking and you got
Yes.
that British accent. Yeah.
Oh,
that
Walking
walk,
in his
baby.
purpose.
yes,
Y'all
yes,
sound a little
yes.
throaty over there. Y'all okay?
You gotta. That's the type of fine that be like, can your wife fight? She can. Okay.
No, Sabrina look like she got some hands, okay? But Idris, you fine, baby. That's all we got to say. Okay.
Hope he hears this. Now listen. So Secret Baby Trope is like one of my favorites.
Say that
So
again. I'm
what
sorry.
makes the like eventual reveal so satisfying? Would you say it's the timing? Is it the drama? Or is it the overall emotional aspect of it? Because I feel like I was going through all of them while I read this book.
Which book was it? That's why I didn't hear what you said.
Rooms of the Heart.
Oh,
She said we were talking
y'all
about the
stuck
secret
in
baby aspect.
1990. Why are y'all stuck in 1990? Do y'all know how long ago that was? And I'm just
Well,
like,
actually, I got a question. Did you rewrite it at some point?
no, I re-released it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That makes
re-released it, but I didn't rewrite it. Yeah, I think it's up here on my shelf somewhere. I need to look in the book and see what y'all talking about. So okay, so
About Kai.
again.
The
So
secret baby trope. So I know that you don't really write it anymore, but what do you feel like, makes the eventual reveal so satisfying? Do you think it's like timing? Do you think it's the overall emotional aspect? Do you think it's the drama?
well, that's not it wasn't secret. So this is the first time that this has happened to me in my entire career. I have a Harlequin book coming out and they put a pregnant woman on the cover. I'm just like totally undone. But I think probably the that as much as it could be disastrous, it brings the couple together in a positive kind of way. I think that's the only way that it actually like really works.
Mhm.
Um, but I just have a problem with the whole secret baby thing. Yeah, I have a character in the book that's coming out in August, Their Unexpected Plan. Um, but they're married. She didn't particularly want this to happen at this particular time in her life. So it really wasn't a secret, but they put a pregnant woman on the cover, and I was just like, man, that was so like not me. What are you doing to me? But it's cute. So, but it's a good story though. It's really a good story. But that's
We gonna
that,
read it.
huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, Their
I'll
Mhm.
be
Unexpected
there.
Plan comes out in August. Yeah, I think the
Definitely reading
cover
it.
up now. It's really good. It's actually about the publishing industry. He is a publisher and he's British, so he could be Idris Elba. Um, comes from he comes from the main publishing house in London to take over the the company in New York, their New York office. And my female character is an aspiring writer who he meets at his welcome reception because she's a waitress. And she tells him, I have this book, and he's like totally fascinated with her from the first time he sees her. And he says, here's my card, and call me. And she finally gets up the nerve to call him. But when he finds out that it's her senior thesis in her graduate program, he's like, oh man, she gonna give me some college paper. And he reads the novel and is totally blown away. And so that begins their relationship, and they have to kind of keep a balance between professional and personal. So that's that struggle that you see happening with them. And then you get all of the behind the scenes stuff, what happens at a publishing company. You got backbiting editors and, the publicity team and all sorts of stuff. But then you have their relationship, which sits on top of that. So it's actually after I read it, because I wrote it one way, then I had to rewrite it because the editors wanted something else. I rewrote it. And I really like it. I read through it and I really like it. The only thing that upset me is, this whole thing about the unexpected plan. But anyway, the title and putting a girl on the cover like that.
Can you request? I mean, since you don't like the pregnant lady on the cover, can you be like, "Hey, I want something different," or is
I
that
was
like
just
going to
gonna ask that.
be
I went through that so because this is Harlequin, and Harlequin, if it had been a different publisher, I probably would have had more success. But
okay?
Um Harlequin has a vision of what they want.
Mhm.
And they do category romances. And their categories are this, and this. And these are the things that we want to highlight because we believe that this is what the readers want. And so trust me, I went back and forth with them. I was like, what are you doing? Like, why is this? And I spoke to because I've been working with my same editor for years now. I'm like, this is not me. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, but the marketing department and the graphic people and the team's thought and blah blah blah. And so here's the cover. So I'm just like, whatever. You know,
Got it.
it's
It sounds like you picking your battles.
Yeah, it's like whatever. I got another book coming out in another publishing company, so it's just like okay, whatever. Do whatever you want to do. So
I know that's right. You
it's a good
said
story. So like you said, pick your battles, and I have to do another book with them, so which I'm supposed to be finishing up and working on. So um you have to decide what's most important. What you're willing to accept and not accept. I think that not being conciliatory all the time, but knowing when to fight and when not to fight has assisted me in being here this long. And being able to write for multiple publishers like simultaneously. So you have to kind of know how to thread the needle. Um, and what you're willing to, go to the mat for, and what you're not going to go to the mat for. Um, and like with the book that I have coming out in November from Amistad, um, I worked, my editor, my agent, myself worked with the graphic designer because they asked me, what do you want on the cover? you
Mhm.
know, which is a completely different experience than Harlequin. Well, these are the images that we want to use, and which one do you want to pick? And this is what you have. That's what those are the choices. So,
Yeah.
here it was, it was a group effort, and right up until today, here's the final version. Let me know what you think. Do you want to make any last minute changes before we finalize it for the advanced review copies? So it was a team effort. And so that experience was completely different. Now I could have spent all my time, arguing with, Harlequin, and I wouldn't have won because that's how they operate, and it doesn't have anything to do with me personally. It's just their aesthetics. So, yeah, you just keep it moving.
Yeah. And Harlequin
Yeah.
covers they tend to be very formulaic. Like I feel like if you are
Right.
in a store, you see a cover, you know that's coming from
No, it's
Harlequin.
a
Yeah,
Harlequin. Yeah.
Right,
absolutely.
right. They have
Yeah.
a particular style that they use, all the time, and so, that's like their signature, it's like their brand.
Mhm.
Like you said, it's a Harlequin book because of the types of covers that they are. You can distinguish them from something else. And, hey, you can't really, it's a massive publishing machine. They dominate the industry. So I guess they figure, we must be doing something right. So,
Yeah.
you know, sit
Yeah.
down. We got this. Like, okay. So
So I know you want us to get out the 90s. You said, hey, carry y'all tails out them 90s. Come on up to the now. Got this book coming out that we're excited to read about. But I think what has gagged us a bit is that we read Rooms of the Heart and came out in 1990, but that book reads very much like books that we're reading in 2026. Like it is very timeless. The storyline, the characters, the relatability, the conflict, it's all still very relevant today. And so I guess we just want to know, what are some tips you can give authors for writing timeless Black romance that will stand the test of time?
Mhm.
well, I think that you as a writer, as a person, needs to be aware of the world, right? I think that you have to read, you have to write, you have to engage. Um, I rarely, I don't read a lot of romances. I read a lot of other things. I read a lot of other types of books and, authors across genres and, nationalities. So, I think that that is so important, so that you don't fall into, um, a trap of what is trending, right? You don't want to write to a trend because trends expire. And once that trend expires, then what are you going to do? You know? And there were a lot of writers that wrote to the trend, right? And so what happened to them? So the thing I think, for me at least, um, I write about things that interest me and that are relevant beyond just a relationship, right? So the relationship will be part of it, but I want it to be couched in something bigger than them, right? And if you can do that, if you can manage that, then you have stories that kind of stand the test of time. And that because if you fall into, you talked earlier about tropes. If it had been a story about, a secret baby, well, you've read that like 5,000 times already. So what is different about Rooms of the Heart, for example? Um, if you've read books about, some secret that they had from years ago, that if they just had a conversation, the whole thing could have been fixed. So when you get stuck in those kind of spaces, the story doesn't live on because somebody else is going to write something just like it. You know what I mean? And nothing's wrong with tropes because they work if you know how to work them. So I don't want to, disparage, using them. But I think that it's really, really important that for a writer to have longevity, you have to have your pulse really on the market, right to your strengths. Don't fall into the trap of, writing to, um, you know, uh, the expectation of the moment, and think about things bigger than these two characters, right? What is happening in the world? What can you interject into the story? Like what happens, in the workplace? What happens between, a family that's been separated? Those things will last. They will always last because there's always somebody that can come back, 35 years later and say, I can still relate to this story because of the elements that you put in the story. And so I think, advice for writers who are, coming up now is to continue to challenge yourself. Don't fall into the traps. Like if all of a sudden, like now, a lot of writers are doing, romantasy. So it's like fantasy and romance. Okay. But it's like a trend. So if that's all you can write, what else can you do after that? What other stories can you tell? Um, so that's kind of what I think helped me, and in my journey, just always being aware, reading, listening to the news. Like, I was like a political junkie, listening to different podcasts and reading newspapers and different kinds of books. Um, and then, teaching classes, helps as well. Everybody's not going to do that. But I think that those things are really important, in terms of having books that are, or they call evergreen, right? That you can read them at any time and say, oh yeah, I get it. And one thing that, um, a writer told me, years ago, you want to also be careful about, um, inserting certain elements into your story that will date it. Um, so if I say, for example, oh, my characters are gonna go see, um, Bad Boys 2, right? You read it 10 years later, well, now you're sort of stuck in that space, you know what I mean? So, little things like that, you wanna be kinda careful of. You can say you're going to a movie to see, Will Smith, as opposed to the actual movie itself. But if you're talking about, a particular period of time, like the World Trade Center, what happened during that time? Well, that was the issue in the backdrop. But what happens to the characters as a result? Like what were their, their circumstances, their emotions? How do they deal with, life afterwards? So that lives on, even though, the story about the World Trade Center, may have dated it. So those are some things that I would highly suggest to readers. That was a long answer. I'm sorry. I started rambling.
But it was very important information, and I do hope that any author that's listening takes heed. I mean, if you're gonna
We
listen to
got the
anybody,
notes.
somebody with a 30+ year career might be someone on that list.
Especially when some of y'all are out here writing and thinking that y'all have created something new. Y'all are just reinventing the wheel, okay? The things are out here already. Just Lean into it. Read your
Yeah.
predecessor.
Lean,
Yeah, I think the important part is
lean.
tropes are fine if you know how to work that trope. If you
Right.
know how to bring something, your voice to the trope, because again,
Yep.
it's not new. Secret babies, forced proximities, all these things are not new, but like, what
Mhm.
can your voice offer in those areas that is different from what you've read many times before?
Right.
Because we know a Donna Hill book when we read a Donna Hill book, right? We
Yes.
know a Beverly Jenkins book when we read one, and Brenda Jackson. So you have to find your voice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And not, copy the style of somebody else. Just really, having a good handle on who you are and write the story. Like Toni Morrison said, if there's a story out there that you want to read and it's not there, then you need to write it, right?
Mhm.
So, you have to think about what would I want to read? What do I want to see? What do I want to share? Why is what I want to write about important? And I think, part of it too, because I'm an English teacher, so we do composition. And so, one of the things that, you always teach your students is that you have to have a purpose for your writing, right? So, you're going to have your introduction and then you're going to have your thesis. Your thesis is what your story is going to be about. You need to know that, like, why am I telling this story? Why is this important? Um, has it been told before? Because, supposedly there's only 36 dramatic plots. So there's only so many ways that you can tell a story. So what of your signature are you going to be able to put that stamp on your story to make yours different from somebody else's? Nobody else can write like Beverly Jenkins. She writes what she writes. And there's other people that write historicals, but they don't write like her. You know their voice.
Mhm.
Brenda Jackson has her own way of writing her romances. It's very specific. And the readers know what they're going to expect. The same thing with with Rochelle or Shirley. Shirley has, you will have some sort of suspense, in her stories. So everybody has their signature. And so essentially what to expect, the quality of the writing when you look at certain authors. Um and I think that it takes time to hone that sometimes for writers, as they find their way and find their voice. Um, uh, you know, Going back to, Rooms of the Art, I didn't know what I was doing when I wrote that book. I had no mentors. I didn't have anything to compare it to. I never saw a Black romance before in my life, at that point when I started writing. Um, and so, I hope that in terms of style, technique, that I've grown over the years through repetition and practice and learning who I am as a writer and what drives me to write. And over the past, I'd say probably 5, 6 years or so, well, probably even before that, before COVID, I just really started looking at the direction that I wanted my writing to take, without losing, my romance base. But the things that I wanted to talk about weren't strictly, well, they're going to get together at the end. I wanted those stories to be more than that. And so, I started looking at um, different time periods that I wanted to put my characters in without having to, write about a particular historical figure, for example, but write about a historical time and put my characters there. So I started looking at, you know, what time periods in Black history interest me. What do I want to look up? What do I want to understand? What do I want to see differently? And began that journey. But still have, my couple there traversing, this new terrain, but finding a new path, for myself and still trying to maintain, that voice. So, it's a learning process. You continue to keep growing and, you know, that's how you kind of hang
Absolutely.
around all this time.
Yes, that is great advice to stay true to you and write the stories that you want to read. And then I love that you were able to set a couple or set a romance in a historical time and not always focus on that character. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Sure.
Absolutely. So, another question for you. You
Mhm.
have been a part of quite a few collections with Frances Ray, Brenda Jackson, Rochelle Ayers, like Living Large and Della's House of Style, and some of the winter and like Christmas anthologies. So, do you have any memorable moments from those?
Oh yeah. One that I really, really enjoy because usually, we when we do those anthologies, if it's a holiday one, somebody gets assigned to do Christmas, somebody does Kwanzaa, somebody does New Year. So you're writing basically like three separate stories. Um, and Della's House of Style and the Big Girl series that we did, everybody had a separate story in the collection. But the one Rocking Around a Christmas Tree that I did with Frances Ray, that was the very first time that I had to work in tandem with somebody else because we were writing to feed off of each other. She had two characters and I had two characters. And um she would send to me what she wrote, and then I would have to pick up what she wrote and write my section, and then I'd send it back to her. So that was so much fun because Frances, God rest her soul, she was very um she was very kind of not prim, but very like that. And, I was like, "Oh, well, you should be doing she should say blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Donna, you we can't do she wouldn't do that." I was like, "Okay." But it was so much fun 'cause the characters were great, the story was fun, and it was really interesting to watch and to watch in real time somebody else's writing practice and their train of thought and how they create characters because I never had to work with anybody like that before. So that was probably one of the most rewarding experiences that I had with writing with another writer.
Can
That
I
is so
just
cool.
say, you just, yeah, that time me and Francis was writing off of each other. We was writing in tandem. Like,
Like,
legends. You all are legends. And like, I can't believe we're
I
able to like
really
speak with you. Sorry, I'm having a moment.
not like I'm with you because I wish Frances was here to also get her flowers. Because
I
Yeah.
again,
know.
raised me. So like, I'm
I
really sad that
know.
she's not here with us, but we speak her name. I was just talking about her, because Jaleesa does 28 Days of Black Romance every year in February, and I
Mhm.
participated this year. And Frances Ray was the author that I selected because not enough of the girls are reading the people that came before them, and I
Mhm.
feel like that needed to be highlighted. So that's another reason why we're happy to have all of our legends on the podcast this month, because the girls need to get some understanding. Tell the people what they need to do. Like it's a lot going on in the author space, in the indie author space, and
Mhm.
I feel like you know they could they could just use your tutelage. That's all. I'm gonna just leave it there. Now, are there any new authors that you find yourself leaning more towards? Doesn't matter the genre. It could be romance. It could be thrillers. Whatever. Are there any people that you feel like you kind of love a little bit more now in 2026?
Um, let's see. And it doesn't have to be romance. It doesn't have to be female, right?
No.
Right.
Okay. Um, I would have, and this isn't even, yeah. Um, Michael Harriot's Black History AF: The Whitewashing of America. It's
Mhm.
fabulous. It's just like, wow. That's at the top of my list right now. Um, Percival Everett's James.
Mm.
So that's another one. What else am I reading? I got
I
like
did enjoy
Those
that.
are 2 good ones, yes.
yes, definitely. What else do I have? I'm getting ready to read Vanessa Miller's new book on the filling station. Because I really like
Oh,
her work.
yeah.
An American Queen. Um, her last book before that, so that's really good. Um, and then my friend Phil Branch, he has a book coming out in June. The Double Dutch Fuss. It's a memoir, but it's great. It's funny. It's raw. It's heart. It's really heartfelt. It's really good. And then, my girl, Bernice McFadden, like anything she writes, I'm gonna read it. I don't care what it is. And so her last
Love
book,
Miss
First World
Bernice.
Girls, was great. So I did that. So I got like so many books up here. Oh, Harlem Rhapsody,
Mhm.
Victoria on a whole new path. With her historicals, and Vanessa Riley. Oh God. Um, I'm just totally in awe of what she does. Island Queen, I think, is my favorite of her books.
Island Queen is
Who else?
good.
Island Queen
Island
was
Queen is
just
good.
I listened to it on audio, and the narrator was like incredible, absolutely incredible. Um, and then who else? There's another nonfiction book that I was looking at. How the Word is Passed, by Clint Smith. That's nonfiction. That was really good as well. So it's a lot of stuff. So, like I said, I read across genres. Yellow Face. Oh my goodness.
Hey.
That is a great book. And it's all about
Mm,
plagiarism. I'm just
yeah.
like, wow.
Yes.
That
We
was
read
Yellowface.
that for book club.
that was
Yes.
good, Yellow Face. Yes, yes, yes. That was a good
Oh,
one.
you know what? It is good because it evoked a lot of emotion out of me, but I was over with it after 4 pages. Like I was done with it. But I kept reading it and it ain't do nothing but piss me off to the very end. It was good, but it irritated the hell out of me the whole time.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, girl, what are you doing? Ugh. And we just got
Really?
deeper and deeper into the mix. I was like, "Oh my goodness, what are you gonna how you gonna get out of this one?" So, yeah, that was good.
No,
Um, A Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell is good too.
Oh
oh,
yeah, we
yes,
read
we
that one.
We
actually had an
read that
episode on that
one.
one.
Yeah,
We
he's
sure did
coming.
discuss that
He's
one.
gonna be one of our authors at the National Black Writers Conference next month.
Oh, don't
Yeah, he's
snatchy.
Ooh.
gonna be there. Nicole Hannah Jones that wrote 1619. She's our keynote speaker. Michael Harriot is in conversation with her on opening night. Imani Perry is one of our honorees. Sibo Campbell will be there. Nana Blue Hammond. There's just like tons of folks that's gonna be at this conference. So if y'all ever get to New York, you should come.
You know what?
We should definitely make a trip, actually.
Yeah, we need to I'm gonna look into that. Might as well. Okay, so you are gonna be outside. We know that you are going to be joining us at Black Romance Book Fest this year. And
Mhm.
we said it before, we're gonna say it again. We consider you one of the pillars of Black romance. Um,
Oh,
how do you feel about coming into the Black Romance Book Fest space and really being surrounded by your people? What does that mean to you? Like, are you excited? Give me the tea.
I sitting here on the other side of the screen, I'm confident, right? I am really very shy, um, kind of introverted actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so it takes a lot for me to absorb that kind of stuff coming at me because it's what I do, because I enjoy it. And I don't really think about how it affects people until they approach me. And then I get overwhelmed. So I think it will be it's just hard for me to take in, as because of the type of person that I am. It's hard to take in.
Mhm.
Uh, and I look forward to it, of course. But just so y'all know, if because people think, oh, she thinks she this. It's really not that. It's just that I'm very shy. I really am in person. Like I could stand next to somebody I know and talk to them, but I'm not that person. And
I
so just so y'all know ahead of time.
Well,
And
you
just
know
so
us
you
now,
know,
so
yeah, you know us. We gonna be there, but also the love is coming your way. Now that you telling us you
Yes.
shy, let me tell you something. When they announced you were attending, social media literally blew up. Like the girls are coming. I've already got Soul to Soul and Della's pulled to the side because I need to get them signed. They're about to love on you real, real hard. And you
Real
have
hard.
earned it. So I know you're shy, but I also want to make sure like we finna love you like you've never been loved before because we appreciate you because as Black romance readers, you know, I feel like authors feel like we're dramatic, but y'all's words have saved us. At some point in our life, we were able to escape into a story that you wrote and that allowed us to feel good and see ourselves in ways that were not always represented. And so
Mhm.
I think this generation of readers, we really want to make sure that we're giving you your flowers while you can still smell them. So just, as Miss Bev from last year, we was on her. Okay. Just love, love,
I don't
love. So
think
I
she
just
was
want to
ready
let
for
you know
that.
it's coming. Yeah.
Okay. I'll be prepared.
People, they might bother you in the middle of the elevator. They might just be staring at you like, "Is that
Is that
is that
Donna
her?"
Hill?
Yes, it's her. Just be prepared for people to act like you Beyonce or the president or somebody,
Yeah.
Obama or somebody like that, okay? Because we're gonna talk about the other food. But
mm-mm,
the people they gonna
mm-mm.
be real excited to see you. Miss Bev walked past her line and was like, "Who's all these people here for?" You.
Because, we know what we do, but I don't think that for the most part, most of us are actually prepared for the result of what we do.
Mhm.
Because we work for the most part in isolation. You
Mm-hmm.
sit at your
Yeah.
computer, you sit in your room, wherever it is that you do your work. And so you pour all of this stuff, all of yourself, your imagination, and you're coming up with dialogue, and you're seeing these scenes in your head, and you're trying to make it come to life, and you put it on the page, you send it out into the world, and hope for the best. But we never know how our work impacts other people until we see them. And then it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, really? You know? And then, what's always so amazing is that, we may have had a particular intent for our story. We'll have this is what I really want them to know about, whatever. And then, you'll have a reader that'll come up with some nuance. This part that you wrote, this section in chapter 3, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? Really? So you just never know what is going to, affect people, how it's going to resonate with others, and until you see them. And it can be overwhelming. I know it can be overwhelming for me. So I'm just letting y'all know right now.
We got you. Don't worry.
Okay. I was about to say, we'll make sure you're good. If you just want us to meet you down at the bar or something real quick, so you could have a little
Take a
FaceTime with
shot if
us,
you need a little shot or whatever. We got you. Don't
glass of
We
worry.
wine,
got
whatever you
you.
need. Even if you just want a little piece of mozzarella stick, we can come down there and talk. You don't have to talk to us in front of everybody. We friends.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. So it will be it will be the very first time that I have been since Shay's last event. Because I haven't been touring really in a while. It's been a while. So I went to, her event, Raw's event last year. So this would be like the first sort of conference thing that I've attended in years, literally. So
It's a
I
magical
think
time.
okay.
I think it's a good time. It'll be a good time, and I think it'll be a good opportunity for you to be reminded of just how big your impact is
Right.
on readers, because when you're out of sight, out of mind, you don't think anybody is thinking about you. But I guarantee you, the readers will be lined up with their books to get signed. Um, just to meet you in person is an honor. So, I mean, I'm sure it could be overwhelming, but it's
Mhm.
gonna be the weekend where if you ever needed a reminder that you are Donna Hill, you gonna get that. You'll get that in abundance.
Okay. So speaking of, if you all want to consider coming to New York, the conference is from March 25th to the 28th. It's in Brooklyn. It's at Medgar Evers College. So in addition to being writer, being teacher, I'm also the executive director for the Center for Black Literature. So that's part of Medgar Evers
Nice.
College. And so we host the National Black Writers Conference like every year. So this is the 18th year. So if you all want to come, centerforblackLiterature.org. If you go to the website, you can see the whole schedule. It costs like next to nothing to attend the conference. It's like, because when you go to conferences, it's like, oh, it's like $400. You got to pay for the hotel and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's like $40 for like all 4 days. So it's like next to nothing. So, if y'all want to come on down, come on down.
I will actually be
Yeah.
in New York that weekend, and I might leave my friends and be like, hey, I got to go do book stuff for like a day. I will see y'all at dinner.
Yeah, come on down. Bring your friend. The more the merrier. Yeah. So, yeah, should be good. It should be good. I don't know if y'all can see this. Can y'all see this?
We
Yes.
can.
Yeah, that's the conference.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
awesome.
Mhm. And
Now,
if y'all want to come and take one of my classes in the fall, I created a course. It's called Gender, Sexuality, and the Black Romance Novel. So I'm teaching that course in the fall. So y'all come on down and take my class.
is the class available online?
I was going to say, is
No,
that
it's a
virtually?
real class. It's a real class in the college. It's one of my college courses.
Oh,
Oh, we Southern folk.
oh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we all littered through Georgia and North Carolina.
We Southern
Oh,
folks is
okay.
crazy.
I have to
We,
come
I mean,
to I have to come to
We
Georgia.
Southern folk is crazy. I just want to put
No,
that out
because
there.
I feel like myself and DH would love to take a writing course.
Mm,
But then also these kids want us to go to work
um,
and be able to buy them things.
yeah, that's
Sadly.
true. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
Oh,
Miss Donna,
we will still get the information and make it available
of
for
course.
our listeners if
yes.
they are able to attend.
Oh, sure,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, for
we'll put
sure.
everything in our description box.
Yes, we'd love to have you.
Now,
Love
before we let you go,
Mhm.
where, besides this conference next month, can the people find you? Are you doing anything on social media? Do you do any like Facebook Lives? Do you want the people to follow you anywhere? Do you just want them to buy your books and leave you alone?
Well, I'm on Facebook. Um, I have, what is it? Donna Hill Writer on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm trying to get myself more acclimated on Instagram. So I post up there sometimes. I follow a lot of people. Um, so I'm there. My website needs to be updated, but it's donnaohill.com. I have 2 books coming out this year, and one of which that I'm really, really excited about is the book that comes out in November. So we may be able to, I don't know if we'll have, I may have some ARCs for you when I
Is
see
this
you.
Ooh,
is this Nola and Baldwin?
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us
Yeah,
know.
so that's the one that they just finished approving the cover. So the ARCs are gonna be getting themselves together soon. So I'm sure they're gonna send some to me so I can get one to you so you all can figure it out. Because I know they're not gonna give me a lot.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate that
Yeah.
Absolutely.
very much. That
Absolutely.
I love that the
I'm
legends are still
excited.
writing.
Hmm?
Yes.
I love that y'all are still writing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
like I like
Gotta
that,
pay them bills.
yeah, that's true. I'm just
Gotta
like,
pay those bills.
sometimes people be like, "Oh, I don't want to read them. I don't want to read them because they old and they don't be writing no more." But y'all are very much still relevant today. Y'all are still writing things. So again, we appreciate you very
Thank
much for
you.
being
Thank
here with
you.
us,
Thank you.
for
They could
sharing your
take a
art with
few
us.
pages out those books because 35 years, that's
In
staying
the game.
power that a lot of people don't have. So,
And the books aged marvelously.
No, really.
yeah.
Like I had a great time
I had a
reading a book
great
that came out
time
in
in Rooms of
1990.
the Heart. I had a great time.
When did y'all read that book? Recently?
We read it
Yeah.
this week to prepare for the interview.
No wonder, because I'm
Yeah,
like,
so
"Yeah,
our
I
thing
love this
with
book."
what we're doing is going back, and because obviously your catalog is vast and it is stacked with just
Yes.
hits. But one thing in particular that we have been having fun doing with the month of legends is just going back to read your debut novel. Um and one to compare it to like how you've grown within the span of your career, but revisiting because as Chandra said earlier, a lot of us read these books before we were old
We were
enough to read
supposed to
them.
be
So
reading them, and
Mhm.
yeah.
they hit really different as older women who have experienced things in life.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, we did the same thing. We recently reread Waiting to Exhale from Terry McMillan.
Mhm.
That book hit really different now that I'm in my 40s with like kids and
Mhm.
a spouse and things. So
Yeah.
it was a good read because it was still a lot of really relevant themes in that book that apply to today. So that's why I know you wanted us out the 90s, but we went back because you had a vision and it has carried on for 30 plus years now.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I get it, because I was like, "What is happening with Rooms of the Heart?"
She was probably like, these girls is crazy. They keep going back to this
I
book.
know she kept saying these books is older than them. What is they doing over here? No, girl,
I
we
know.
very
That
purposeful.
yeah, how old that book is? Yeah, the book is like 30 something odd years. I can't believe it's really been that long. But
Turning
yeah,
36. Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. Wow. Well,
Well,
I got all kinds of stories to tell, child. All kinds of stories.
well, we want to hear whatever else you got going on. If you get them arcs, just let us know. We're ready for it. We'll be waiting. Tell Shay to send us the email. We here, okay? Like,
Okay,
if you want to come back, feel free to do that. Do so.
okay, okay. This was fun.
W-
Yes, we had a
Fun.
good
Yay.
time.
We had a
We
time.
had a
Thank you so
great
much.
time.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Keep
Of
reading. Who's up
course,
next?
Miss
Brenda
Brenda's next
Jackson.
week.
Okay, okay. Tell Brenda I said, "Hey, Brenda."
We would
Will do.
We
the
will.
fact
Now
that
that we're
we get
all
to
close
say,
personal
Miss
friends.
Now that we're
I know, right?
friends, let's just keep in touch. Family barbecue this summer. Let us know. We like
I'm
y'all
supposed to
good.
actually be coming to Atlanta. I'm only gonna be there overnight though, on April 23rd and 24th, because my grandson is graduating from the police academy.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be down there
Yeah.
overnight. Cause where is he? He's in He's not like in Atlanta. He's outside of Atlanta.
Oh, one of the outskirts.
Yeah, one of the
It's
towns
no
like
telling.
outside Atlanta. He's not in Atlanta proper. I forgot where it is where he lives. So it'll be the first time I'm going down there to
Well,
see
we
him.
excited to see you. We're
Yes.
excited that you
Oh,
came
word.
here. We're probably gonna be blushing and kicking our feet as soon as we get off the line.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
But, we appreciate you. Now, before we get ready to go, I do want to remind everybody that Miss Donna Hill will be at Black Romance Book Fest. Today's recording is February 20th. If you ain't got no ticket by next Friday, girl, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, the resales is closing soon. Okay, so if you don't get to see her, yo bad. We do.
Good
You
luck,
can
So
at least
everyone.
you can at least buy the books. That's all
Go
we
buy the
have for
books.
you.
books.
Go buy
Go
the
buy the
That's
books.
all
books.
I got.
Go buy the
Sorry, you're
books.
not going to be able to see her. We
You're not
will.
gonna
We're
be able
going
to
to
see,
go to
but
the ball with
and
her.
you can listen to this podcast. I mean, that
Rewind it
might
Now,
be
over
as
and
good as it
over.
get, but it's the gift that keeps giving.
there you
Okay.
go. Keep
And
playing it, okay?
also, me and Fran will be at Black Romance Book Fest. Nervous as
And will.
well.
Okay. Miss CM
Okay.
Barnes, Miss DH Renfro, when we get the schedule, we'll let you know exactly when to come see them, okay? But you're going to see them. And Gail King, sorry, Jaleesa Reed is
Gail
also
King
going to
is
be there.
hilarious.
Gail King is crazy.
You're not allowed to call her Dawn Gail type things, Barbara Streisand every now and again. Now I know
You
I know
might
that's a
have
white
to
lady that
you might
sings.
have to get you a Roberta for BRBF, Julie. So a nice little Roberta and swing your head when you
No,
You know.
Bob.
Jaleese is also gonna be there doing her moderation thing, and come see me at the kickback on Friday night.
and come see the lit
And
library because we will be
yes.
on site talking to the readers and the
Oh, okay.
authors and just getting your perspective on this really huge all black everything event.
A
Okay.
Yes.
black event.
A
Yes,
blackety
blackity
black
black.
event.
Yes,
Blackity
blackity
black.
Blackity
black.
black.
Have your water. BRBF said don't bring the carts with the big butts. Go
And
get
the
you a
big
little
butt.
book cart. I'm sorry, we almost made it, but I was not gonna let us go out without me. Have the right cart, get you some
Have the right
water,
deodorant with
the right
aluminum.
You need aluminum.
You need
Put
aluminum
the
in Atlanta
aluminum
in
back in the
May.
deodorant.
Get some of that Tussie. It's not gonna steer you
All
wrong.
right.
You
I'm
know
gonna hang
what?
up.
We
Thank you
almost
so
made
much.
it.
The
We
kind
almost
that you
made it.
the kind you
before
put
we
your
go,
hand in the jar and you gotta get you some
Hey,
Tussie.
get
Tussie
you
Candace,
never
some of that
steering
body
nobody.
powder
just
too.
mute your
Tussie
mic.
never
Mute your mic.
Tussie never had you musty. That should be the theme. Where's the theme, people? Like the
And
girl got the jingle. Tussie never
Your
had you
mic.
musty.
good
Candace.
night to all, and to all, good night.
2 million.
Now,
Give it
hold on
here.
before we go. While we on the record, Miss Donna, please tell Charlie you said hello and that you love her too.
Y'all crazy.
Should I get it on the line? Okay, because Charlie wanted to make sure she told you hello. And Charlie said she love you, girl.
Okay.
She gonna be at BRBF too.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see y'all in person.
We can't wait to meet you either, Miss Donna.
So we can
It's
hang
been a
out.
pleasure.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Good
y'all.
night.